and welcome back to Visit Fylde Coast. It's Thursday afternoon, the 11th of January, and it's not as cold, and it's not blowing a gale, which is amazing. And I'm on the beach. As you can hear, there's a rattle going on behind me, and this is the team doing the southern end of the Wyre Beach Management Project. There you go, look. So I thought we'd come and have a look. And we'll see what they were doing, and I would explain everything, because I know everybody's absolutely fascinated by this job and what is actually happening on this beach. So don't forget, make sure that you've subscribed. There's a playlist. I looked this morning, I've already done 28 episodes of beach work, so it's all explained from the needle to the thread if you're at a loose end and you need something to do. But don't forget to subscribe to Visit Fylde Coast and give this video a like, and then when we do our next episode you'll get the next update and the next video. So let's go see what we can see, shall we? Let's start with a lovely view. Is that not just absolutely beautiful? So this line of rocks is the demarcation line between Blackpool and Cleveleys, because this marks the boundary between the two authorities. Cleveleys is in Wyre, and Blackpool is a unitary authority with a different coastal defence. So this is the actual work as such on Cleveleys Beach. Great marker pole, big pile of rocks, ramp and steps. So the rocks that are in the groin, that one looks a little bit higher, unless it's because the beach is lower. I think it's because the beach is lower. Can you see how it's scoured out here in this area where the tide, in fact if you look just a bit further up there, that's really scoured, where the tide has cut it out against the sea wall, and that's what we're trying to protect from happening at Cleveleys. I know the steps up there have been closed for quite a long time, so you've not even been able to go on the beach up at that section because there's such a big pool and a big drop. So the rocks line up from the end of the groin marker pole up to the ramp, and then from the ramp up to the steps is a combination of either rocks or a concrete crossover interface. You'll know that quite a few of these ramps have already been built. There's a ramp on practically every groin, and some people have already commented that some of the concrete is wearing away. That's because it's the base layers. They've been built up using metal formers, using an ordinary grade of concrete, and the top grade of concrete, the really hard stuff, is just going in on this one because it's the last groin up near the boundary. So you can see where there's a bit of a step in it there. So I'll show you the other side of the digger in a second, and all will become obvious. And as if by magic he moved. So you can see here, look, they've put forming shutters down the side of the ramp so that they can put the concrete in that side, and then the hard concrete, which is super strong, will be a lot better suited to the marine environment and all the pebbles and all the bits of rock and everything rumbling about over the top of it. So you'll notice that there seems to be an awful lot of rocks. There's enough rocks to build a quarry. And there's a difference between the rocks that are finished and the rocks that are plonked. That's a technical building expression, that, rocks that are plonked. So these rocks that line up to the pole, to the ramp, to the seawall are groin, and these rocks that are just dumped are exactly that, they are just dumped. Because they're delivered to Jubilee Gardens, and there isn't enough space within Jubilee Gardens to actually store all the rocks that are being delivered. So the rocks are limestone and granite, and they're coming from Shap and Carnforth up in the Lake District. So this is a concrete crossover ramp that's a bit more exposed. It's a bit higher in the beach, but the idea is that over time the beach levels out. So at the moment that ramp is stuck quite a way up into the air, and as I've just said, these rocks look as if they're a little bit higher because they're stuck up more out of the beach. And in actual fact, as I'm standing in between them, I bet if you put a rope across the top, they're not far off, exactly at the same level. And that's because of the undulations in the beach, which is making one groin look higher than another groin. So this next pile here is a groin. These are dumped. Once you know, you can actually tell the difference quite easily. I shall demonstrate just a second. Wowzer, that's a fancy bit of ironwork. You'll also notice as well that some of the groins are coming out and some of them are still in. So where they're actually serving a bit of a purpose, like this little bit here, and it's not actually in the way of what they're trying to build, they leave them in. When they get to a part where the old wooden breakwater is in the way of what they're trying to build, then they take it out, and it all goes back to the yard and it's sorted and sent to be recycled. So nothing is dumped. So here we go. Look, you can see this is an example I prepared earlier. So we're lined up now, and the rocks end level with the poles. So there's not a post on the end of every groin, but there are near enough for you to be able to see that there's a demarcation line of underwater obstructions. So the rocks line up, and then eventually when they've finished moving the heavy machinery, these rocks will join up to this crossover ramp. So you can see here what I was saying about it eroding and sort of wearing away. So they dig quite a long way down into the beach to put these metal former blocks in and then lay concrete. So there'll be quite a bit of concrete underneath the level that you can actually see here. So there's a top layer of super strong, super tough concrete to go in above the top of what you can see there. And then at this end where the steps are, there's a concrete tie-in section which will be cast between the end of the ramp and the steps to tie it all together. So I hope that makes sense. I will carry on doing updates on a regular basis, and now we'll go up there and we'll have a look at some more piles of some more rocks. rocks and rocks. What a shame the sun's gone at the back of the clouds. It still looks pretty though. So what time is it now? It's 3:20. So today, because of the tides, they only managed to get out on the beach from 1 o'clock. So you can see why this job is going to look as if it's taking a long time to do, because they can't actually work for the full duration of the time that the job's going to take. So now you can see that is a pile of rocks, and it looks very different to that, which is a bit of completed groin. So it's like spot the rocks. I reckon this guy's levelling this great big hole out. I don't know whether it's just eroded or whether there's been something there, but there's obviously been a big pile of sand and a big sandbank next to it. Fascinating to watch. I know I'm weird, but I do enjoy watching them. And when this is all finished, it will stabilise the beach and level it out a lot and stop big pools and pockets and holes from appearing, and you should end up with a fairly even level to the actual beach. Here's another one, spot the ramp. So you can see how, because these ramps are all cast at the same level in the beach, so you can see how this one's disappeared because the beach levels are slightly higher here than they are down towards the Blackpool end. That beach at Blackpool is considerably lower than this one. And it's that beach that protects the bottom of this step C defence from being undermined and eroding, and it's what stops great big waves from forming, so that you don't end up with waves coming over the top and lots of flooding. Let's go and have a look and see what these guys are doing, shall we? While we're here, it's going cool now, that sun's dropping. So it might look like a little bit of a building site at the moment, but that's because they're obviously working. And when they're finished, it will all be returned to cleanliness and tidiness, just like the Russell scheme up at Larcombe at Fleetwood, which is all tidy. Oh, they've got some textile mats, so we'll go down there and I'll show you how they build the groin. Right, so you can see in the bottom of this hole, there's a black line. That is a roll of what's called geotextile membrane, and that comes on a big roll, just like a big carpet. And in fact, you can see some of it here, look. And this blue beam is what they use to hold it up in the air and then unroll it into the bottom of the groin. So they pull that off the roll and they put it into a big hole that they've dug on the beach, and then they put rocks on top of the membrane. And the rocks are all exactly positioned. There's a GPS control within the cab of each of those big diggers, excavators, whatever you call them. And each rock is put in the right place with the right number of contact points with its neighbour. And the voids between the rocks are just as important as the actual rocks themselves for doing the job that they're doing and for the stability of the groin. So you can see he's picking, he's selecting which ones he's got. And you'll have noticed as well that they've got weights marked on them. So they're a different combination of different weights and different actual rocks. So he picks which one he wants, and then he swings it round and he puts it, just look at that, it's amazing. That's probably about an 8 to 10 tonne rock, that. When you think how we struggle lifting a little lump. So he puts it exactly where he wants in the hole. Oh, I think he's got a puddle down there, actually. And then when they're finished and they're sure and they're ready that it's in the right place, they tip the nose of, in fact that looks like it's what he's doing, tip the nose of the grabber onto the rock, which gives them the GPS coordinates of the rock on the computer screen within the cab of the digger. And that tells them whether or not they're in the right place. It's all very clever. So being able to do that is a bit of a combination of digger operator and dry stone waller. So it's a very specialised job, and not everybody can do it, as you can imagine. It's fascinating to watch. So like I said earlier, they came out at 1 o'clock and it's now, I don't know, 3:30, heading for 4 o'clock. Let's have a look. Let's check the time, it's spot on 3:30. So there's a limit to how many hours they can work because it's tidal, and because if the tide's not in, they've got to stop because they can't work for 24 hours because they're so near to domestic properties. I could stand here all day. It's a bit cold to stand here all day, but it's very interesting. So they build them up in layers, and then they put the next layer on top so that each rock has got 3 contact points with the ones that are next to it, and that means everything is stable and everything is not going to wobble about and move about. Oof. Fascinating. So I hope you've enjoyed that little how-to guide to building sea defences in the modern world. You can see here that the pebbles have built up on the inward curve of the sea defences, and then it sort of scours a bit on the headland, so it should stabilise quite a lot of that. Don't forget, make sure that you've subscribed, make sure that you've hit the little bell for notifications, and watch out for the next update because there'll be plenty more before we've finished. Bye for now.